right?
Uh-huh.
Is that just for white gods?
I think so.
There's no Maui?
No. I don't think
You're
so.
welcome! Maybe that's not a thing.
Maybe not.
Do you want to talk about the return of American Gods?
Yeah, I do.
I think we should get right into it.
Oh, okay.
So we're the Just Enough Joe podcast. I'm your host, Calvin. Joey's always my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mika and Hannah.
And we're going to talk about the return of American Gods. Just to start this off with a bang.
Yeah.
We come from the land of the ice and snow.
We do.
Although it's not as snowy and icy as it used to be.
It's still pretty bad, though. We've had a pretty rough winter.
Expect us to begin talking about how hot it is in here any moment now.
Yeah.
But not right now, though.
No.
So American Gods is back on TV, and I don't know if it was never in doubt, because the greatest god who we haven't run into in this show yet is money, right?
Right.
So this thing was never not going to happen, but it had its own sort of crisis of faith, if you will, after its first season.
Yeah.
Do you want to fill people in on that?
Well, sure. Brian Fuller did not return as, I think he was executive producer. Is that right?
He was the whole deal, yeah. Showrunner, head writer, executive producer.
Yeah. I think he didn't come back because they were not going to give him the amount of money that he felt like he needed to produce the show.
Which is strange.
Yeah.
Because this show looks like
it's
$1 million
expensive.
bucks.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you can shoot in the house on the rock.
Right, in Wisconsin.
So you pay them.
Yeah.
And that's part of it's taken care of. But there's lighting and there's all these things. And you can shoot in a diner. But how do you make that diner look,
seedy
warm and like seedy? Yeah, but like also like a slice of Americana.
Right.
Without the washed out
neon
bulbs.
lights.
Like fluorescent bulbs. No, you got to have all this warmth and incandescent light in there.
Yeah.
And so this all costs money.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it wasn't enough money for him.
No, it was not.
Is that what you tell people? Because we know
what
that
else you would
Brian
tell
Fuller's. This is a thing for him. This is like the third show in as many years that he has parted ways with.
I think he has pretty high standards, and when those standards aren't met, he's like, see ya, because he doesn't want to put his name on something that he feels like might be mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, we have yet to, once again, reach the heights of Wonder Falls, so...
Yeah.
Has he ever made a movie? Does he know how much
I don't know.
Shows are supposed to cost?
I don't know.
Why doesn't he try to make a movie?
I have no idea.
He will be fighting for money, but it will be $40 million for 2 hours instead of, 6 for 8 or whatever it is.
Right.
I guess the math pretty much works out the same.
Yeah, probably.
But it's not. The movie isn't 8 hours long.
Right.
So so it's weird. So we've got a whole turnaround here.
Yeah.
And
Gillian Anderson is also not returning
because
Brian Fuller left. At least that's the reason she gave. And she was media, and she was great in it. So I don't know who they're going to get to replace her, but they have somebody to replace her, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and it was fun to have, if this was set in 2050 and there's like a third round of gods who are going to, now that we're all cyber pollened into the data brain or something like that.
Sure.
And that we were fighting against the gods of like 90s TV, just like a hard copy guy. Who's the guy? Evan, we'll do it live. Like that guy's news, and then like Bo Jackson is sports.
Right.
TV would be Gillian Anderson.
Right.
So it's fun to just have her dress up as Lucy and Marilyn and all these things, and then it's also her face under it.
Yeah.
But it's true that, as a character, I mean, you can just recast that character.
Yeah. And
also, it's
won't be the
evidence
end of the
that
world.
she's still on top. Like, she just doesn't need to do this.
No, she doesn't.
How'd you like to have a, kind of important role on a Showtime show? Or Stars. Sorry, Stars.
Yes.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got a ton of other things to do.
Yeah, I know.
So she's out.
Yeah.
And coming in to replace Fuller and his partner Green, Michael Green, was Jesse Alexander, who was a executive producer and writer on Heroes.
Okay, sure.
And I think Alias, and also he worked on Lost, so guy knows episodic broadcast TV.
Sure.
And Mr. Neil Gaiman, I think this is how you say his name. Looks like Gaiman.
Uh-huh.
As the other showrunner.
Yeah. Well, I think they found a fairly good replacement.
Yeah. Now, in September of last year, Jesse Alexander was fired from the show.
Are you serious?
Yes. So basically, Gaiman's in charge.
It's his baby now.
He is a showrunner with no co.
With no co. Yeah.
And then I think a line producer and like just one of the associate producers just got bumped up to like, you guys are in charge.
Executive producer.
You guys are assigning the checks, basically.
Okay.
So the show from here on out will be Neil Gaiman's show.
That's
for
crazy.
good or worse.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if you've seen Mirror Mask, but
I have not.
he wrote the script for the pilot, or not pilot, it is something of a repilot of
the first episode of the season.
Season 2.
Okay.
Called House on the Rock, featuring the titular House on the Rock.
Yep.
You've been to the House on the Rock?
I have. I went there back when I was in high school, I'm pretty sure, and we actually met my grandparents there. My grandparents lived just outside of Chicago, and I grew up, in the Twin Cities, so it was kind of a like halfway point, but we just decided we were going to go see the House on the Rock and do a couple other random things in Wisconsin. I'm not really sure why, but that's what we decided.
There are a lot of things to see.
Yeah. And what I remember is there being room after room after room of like tchotchkes and things. I particularly remember like the Christmas room. It was like mostly Santas like everywhere. And then I also remember there being a glass floor that went out to a certain point and being really freaked out about that because I have this thing with like heights. I don't like, like overpasses, like with the bridge, like walkways or something like that. I don't like the feeling like I might be able to fall from someplace.
Okay.
So I didn't really like the glass floor. That made me feel like vulnerable, even though it's like enclosed and everything.
Yeah.
I just didn't really like that part.
Okay.
So that's what I remember from the House on the Rock.
I've never been.
No?
I've been to, I think, literally every attraction there is in the Greater Dells area in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because my family, we summered there.
Sure.
I don't even want to use that verb because it doesn't describe what we were doing, but we'd go to Wisconsin for the summer. And we never went to the House on the Rock.
That's so weird.
I don't know why. So
we should go sometime.
Yeah, great. So I only know it from the descriptions in the book, American Gods.
Yeah.
And just what I've seen in brochures and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that does set the backdrop for this. And of course, this lines up with the book. This is pretty much, the start of the second act, if you will, of the book. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I think we've got like 3 seasons here, right?
Probably about that.
This is going to wrap up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Already they're in the American Hotel.
Yes.
I think we were talking about how they'll probably try to do, Shadow lives in a cabin on a lake in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. It'll be like one episode instead of an entire third of the book.
Right.
The whole My Einsel thing.
Right.
And then we'll just kind of get to it, right? So can this show go more than 3 seasons? Maybe 4. Maybe 4.
Maybe 4. I mean, they could definitely add some padding and
and we can talk about it. We should be talking about it. This episode had some padding.
Yeah. I mean, and like add some things that were not in the books and stuff like that. I think that they are definitely capable of that. Especially if they want to stretch it out, which they may want to do.
Yeah.
And especially with Neil Gaiman, helping to be showrunner and everything. I mean, I'm sure he's consulted if like they, go off book, so to say. And I'm sure he has other ideas of places they could go and things that they could do, that he maybe just didn't include in the book just to keep it more succinct, Yeah. Maybe he has ideas that he left out of the book on purpose, but maybe would be added to a TV show.
Well, he apparently he's TV now because he's got this. Yeah. He's heavily involved with Good Omens. I know that.
Yes.
I'll give it to him that he's not trying to direct one of these.
Right.
So if he just wants to have the sort of controlling hand as far as the story goes,
right?
We've got a long tradition of Matthew Weiners and David Simons and David Milches, who are the guys who are like the creative. What would this character do? Where are we going now?
Right.
Go to the brain. He knows.
Right.
And so I mean, if he wants to do that, I think that that's probably a good move. I have to say that just coming out of the gate, I did enjoy this episode, although it did. I'm trying to feel how it's different, and we might not even see it in the DNA yet, how it's different than what Fuller might deliver.
Sure.
And maybe it's just my imagination, but it did feel more gamey. There's something that you get that, I don't know, for some reason it doesn't hurt as much in a comic book like Sandman as it does in a TV show, but I'm getting a little sick of the whole whenever they go somewhere they're going to meet some new god, and they have to go through their whole thing, so they come out and it's like,
right.
You son of a bitch. Well, look what the leprechaun dragged in.
Yeah.
Old Mr. Wednesday.
Right.
Well, gee, I haven't seen you since you crawled out of your goat's ass or whatever.
Right.
Are they still just boiling sacrifices to you down in the thing? Well, it's been 1,000 years. Okay, everybody, we know who all these people are.
I know.
In fact, they're even meeting at the House on the Rock. That's the new place. I
Right.
know who Anansi is. I know who Bilquis is. Everybody's got to do their whole loopy-doopy-doopy-doo.
I know. Well, the guy with like the hammer, he says multiple times, "I'm only here because I lost checkers to your boy." And then,
Yeah.
and I mean, he says that to Wednesday. He says that to Shadow.
Yeah.
And he even says to Shadow, "How about best out of 3? And then I could kill you, and then I could go home." And you almost feel like the one thing he doesn't say is, "Wouldn't that be great?" You know?
Yeah, I hope nothing really bad happens that basically like ensures that I'll stay here in this quest forever.
I know. What did you?
Anyway.
What did you think about Shadow being abducted by aliens?
Wasn't he already abducted by aliens?
Well, I mean, he was kind of abducted by gods. I don't know. Was he already abducted by aliens?
In the first, he was abducted. I don't know if he beamed up. I can't remember. I know he was abducted by Mr. Data Man or whatever.
Yes,
Data Kid.
and they were going to lynch him. That
They did
scene.
lynch him.
Yeah.
Which did that happen in the book?
I can't remember.
My memories of the book are not
Fuzzy.
great. Yeah.
Mine are fuzzy at best.
Dreamlike, if you will.
Uh-huh.
But I think that this definitely... Okay, we're not going to mess around with Corbin Burnson anymore. Like, we're into it. Like, we go to this place, we see all the gods, and we see them in their, glory or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we know what we're dealing with.
Right.
And no spoilers for people who haven't, I guess, read the book, but... we know that Shadow is very pivotal to this whole situation, and they kind of set that up. And so, I felt like it was... I don't know how long it was. It was around an hour.
Yeah.
But they did feel like parts where... There are things where you can, like, familiarize your viewers, like, I'm able to play because I play the checkers or whatever.
Right.
Fine.
Right.
But there were a couple parts that were just like, well, we can just throw these two characters together and they can talk for 4 minutes, and that'll kind of get us to the end of this thing.
Right.
And it's like, but wasn't that, like... the whole first season. So I'm kind of like one of those horses on the merry-go-round. Like, I'm chomping at the bit. Like, I'm ready to go here. Let's get to this.
Let's keep
'cause
going.
I know there's a lot of great stuff that's kind of coming up.
Right.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I mean, I think
It felt good to have it back.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't know how I was going to feel after the end of the 8th episode of the first season.
Right.
Which was okay.
I thought it was good. I mean, I thought Easter was a big splash.
Speaking of splashes,
Chenoweth
Chenoweth will not be back either.
You don't think so?
No, that has been announced.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know if they had
Why?
planned on having her come along, but they're just like,
Why?
she didn't come along.
Because you ran over the bunny rabbits.
Splashed her rabbits.
But why does she not want to come back? The same sort of thing. Brian Fuller, is that why?
I do not know.
I mean,
but if I ever see her, I'll be like, "Oh, Easter, looks like you've got eggs over my hammy."
Oh my
and
God.
she'll be like, "Well, I haven't seen you since."
Wow. Well, I know she worked with Brian Fuller on Pushing Daisies. She was on that show,
right?
So maybe it does have something to do with.
Did you know the guy that plays Mad Sweeney, Pablo Schreiber, is Nick Sabatka from season 2 of The Wire?
No. I did not know that.
Do you remember those characters at all?
No.
It's the Doc's season of The Wire.
Yeah, I remember the Doc season.
There is the Nick Sr. or whatever. There's the one guy played by, what's his name? I'm going to describe him as having kind of a piggy face, but he's a very talented actor. And I love him in everything he's in. And then his son is like the kind of ne'er-do-well type kid who's trying to make it work. He's got something on the side. And then his friend is the guy who was in Generation Kill, who goes nuts and shoots up the pawn shop or whatever.
Oh, okay.
You don't remember anything from season 2. Anyway, he's like this skinny little guy. Then it's like, mad sweet. They must, I mean, you can work out, but I mean, like.
He must have bulked up for the show.
But they must, like, pad his jean jacket out or something, right?
I don't know.
Because he's coming in, like, he looks comparable to Ricky Whittle. And Ricky Whittle's, like, that kid played football in college, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Not a small guy. Yeah. I still think, Wednesday just dominates, which is, par for the course. He should dominate. That's kind of his wheelhouse. But he kind of says at the end of this episode, is this what it takes, once a horrible thing happens?
He says it, but then he's like, did everybody hear that cool, tragic thing I said?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
So.
He's not subtle. He is not a subtle god or character or in any way.
Yes.
He says what he means and he means what he says.
Really? Isn't he the most dishonest person ever?
I guess he is kind of dishonest.
So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you're looking for a recommendation, I'd say, if you watch the first season, it's back.
Yeah.
And if you didn't watch the first season, I think you should.
What Anansi, who plays Anansi again?
Orlando Jones.
Yeah, Orlando Jones. I think he does a great job as playing Anansi.
I do too. But what if that character was merely knowledgeable and sly and not screaming at the top of his lungs all the time? It's a very big performance.
It is
It's
big.
one thing, like the scene where he's like preaching to the guys on the slave ship or whatever.
Right.
Like that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But then he's like the biggest offender of the thing I'm talking about, where it's like, well, if I live and breathe, it's old Mr. West.
Yeah, I know. The way he greeted them.
You just know you're going to get like this big harangue, and it's like, okay, all right.
Right. Do we need to go through this every time we meet? Like, you know who we are.
But yes, I mean, for a guy who, was making 7-Up yours, like, I didn't know he had that in him. So,
right.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would complain about is, we have to have a female romantic lead, because that brings the girls back to watch the show. I don't know. But Laura kind of comes in and out of the book, and she's got her own kind of thing going that means that she's not really with Shadow all the time. And they've just gone, no, we've got Pretty Baby, Sucker Punch or whatever in here.
Yeah.
So she's going to hang around.
Right.
And all she does is hang around.
She kind of pouts. And
it really, and she's not really invited, and yet she's here, and they haven't found anything for her to do. So this is the first episode where I really started to feel like, why is she here?
She's here to keep her eye on her husband.
No, I know why she's here, but from a storytelling perspective, a person with a pencil behind their ear in a writer's room, why is this person here? If we're going to make things up, which you have to, tell different narratives in a TV show as compared to a book, and the guy that wrote the book is here, hopefully we're going to have something for her to do.
Yeah, I agree.
She's not doing anything.
No. Even her wow.
I'd love to help.
Her her fortune was blank.
Right.
So it's really like you are a blank slate. You are dead.
Those are your script pages. Let me give you your fortune.
I know, right?
I see a call to your agent. So anyway, as much as that sounds like a recommendation, that's a recommendation.
Yeah, I would agree.
I say check it out. Why not?
Yep.
All right. So what else is going on the show today? Of course, we're going to talk some news as we usually do, and we got to talk about that big deal, that most powerful character in the room.
Yes.
One Captain Marvel.
Yes.
We'll talk about Captain Marvel, the new Marvel Cinematic Universe film, starring Clark Gregg. That just came out.
He's the star?
And
Come on.
So we'll talk about it. It's doing good. I
Yeah.
mean, it's made about $150 million domestically this weekend. I guess we can talk a little later about where that puts it in terms of all Marvel releases, but it's made about $455 million worldwide.
Wow.
So it is so far the second highest grossing film of 2015.
Okay.
Excuse me.
2019. Wow. We went back in time 4 years there for a second.
I could, but we can't. Get this instead of Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And for what was presumed to be, it's going to be a slow year. It's going to be a slow
Right.
year. Is it?
It's only the beginning of March.
Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Shazam. Probably another DC film I'm forgetting.
Hellboy.
Endgame. Yeah. Hellboy is going to tank.
Okay. All right. You say it now.
Yep. Hand of God right now. Or devil, whatever. Frozen 2.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be okay this year.
Dumbo's
Dumbo's going to do okay.
Yeah.
Not great.
Okay. Isn't Aladdin coming out later this year too? I feel like there's a couple of live action Disney films that are set to come out this year.
I'm going to assign you to follow up on that.
Okay.
Not
Right now?
though.
Okay.
Mostly because I don't care.
Okay.
And I hate dead air.
Oh, all right. I got it.
So we're going to talk about that. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Let's try this. What are you reading right now?
I'm still reading Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel books to try to read more of the background of the character. I haven't gotten as far as I would like. She's fighting Grotesque for the second time, so that's as far as I've gotten. On my nightstand, on my to-read pile, is V for Vendetta, which I believe we plan on talking about in a couple weeks.
Give it away.
But yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. And then I'm also reading another Fury book by Catherine Valenti. Yes. Her third in her Fairyland series. So,
okay.
Which follows a young girl named September. She has, every summer, she gets beckoned away to Fairyland and she has different adventures. She has a couple of friends in Fairyland. One is a Wavery, which is a dragon library. And then the other is a Merid, who is he's magical, but he's part of the sea, that sort of thing. So, some stuff that's kind of out there, but is a lot of fun. So
weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you? What are you reading?
I am currently reading a book called The World of Star Trek.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
It is by David Gerald, who is the writer of The Trouble with Tribbles.
Okay.
And some other stuff. He want me to remind you that he's written some other stuff.
Right.
But let's face it, he's troubles. And he also, and so the funny thing about this book is, pay attention to me.
I'm paying attention.
The funny thing about this book is that it was written in the mid to late 70s, and it's about the phenomenon of Star Trek, and it's also kind of my history with Star Trek. He's capitalizing on how Star Trek, popularity boomed in the 70s, which is fine. And it's also kind of the subtitle is kind of how Star Trek taught me how to write. The edition I'm reading, though, is a re-release in the early 80s after the success of Star Trek's 1, 2, and I think 3 had come out by this point.
Okay.
So he's writing it, with a few annotations from an updated perspective. And it's still 40 years old.
Yeah.
He's still kicking around. Mm-hmm. I don't know why he doesn't do a new version of it.
Doing a newer version?
We're not
I can see that.
Exactly friends on Facebook, but I'm going to get to somebody who's going to get to him and tell him to...
He should do a new
World of Star Trek
adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can crab about Discovery in it if you want to. So I'm... I don't know if he likes it or not, but so I'm reading that. I'm also rereading the original Scud comic book.
Oh, okay, sure.
Just for the hell of it.
Okay. Interesting. What made you decide to reread that?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
Okay.
Speaking of Wisconsin, I think I wanted to be inspired by the story of two ne'er-do-wells, from Milwaukee who just started making a weirdo comic book that was sending up all the pop culture and action movies that they liked. And then they knew somebody who knew Julia Sweeney, and Julia Sweeney knew Quentin Tarantino. And once Quentin Tarantino's reading your script, then everybody wants to read your script.
Right.
And so they made a deal with Oliver Stone. It never went anywhere, but it gave him enough money to make it out to the big L.A.
Right. And continue writing the
yada,
comic.
yada, yada. Moderate success on TV.
Yes.
or alternate version of the story. Yada, yada, yada. Monster House.
Right.
And it all fell apart.
Right. After Monster House.
A story of sex, drugs, mannequin legs.
And
this is
Monster House.
Behind the Scud. Yeah, behind the house.
Okay, behind the house.
Stop looking at your computer.
All right.
I'm going to throw it out.
No, don't do
The
that.
computer god's going to get mad.
Oh,
but I'll be like, well, Mr. Computer God.
All right.
I haven't got an IM from you since 1942.
Calm down.
I don't know if that's even possible.
So live action Aladdin is in theaters May 24th of this year.
When's Dumbo come out?
I think Dumbo's before then.
How could they put them on the backs of each other like that?
I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's just get into it. Here's the news. So like I said, Captain Marvel is about 153 million, I think, is the updated total there.
Okay.
And the fun thing is, I made a joke about this before. All of recorded human history and the two Captain Marvel movies come out within a month of each other.
Right.
But it's done $153 million this weekend, and it's got basically 4 weekends left until its biggest competitor, Shazam, comes out.
Right.
So it's got the run of March. So people think it's probably going to continue to make a lot of money.
I think it will.
Some other movies that made a similar opening weekend amount. The Dark Knight made $158 million.
Okay, sure.
Hunger Games, Catching Fire made $158 million. Rogue One did $155. The original Hunger Games made $153 million.
Okay, sure.
So this is respectable. If it continues to punch it out over the next month, it will probably top Iron Man 3, which made $410 million in its entire run. And that was the 5th largest MCU film. So we got another...
That's crazy.
We got another Black Roots Panther on our hands. No.
Wow.
Look, you know that I've been working on this for weeks.
Yeah.
And that's all I came up with. It looks like we have another... presumably niche, or maybe because of a niche audience, people are coming out to support and see this.
Right, because
now I don't know if like Kendrick Lamar is buying out blocks of tickets, buying out theaters.
Yeah.
He should be.
Right.
Or I don't know, somebody should be.
Right.
To show little girls hero
Girl Scouts
who's
or whatever.
not going to give up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That would be nice. I don't know if that's going to happen with this film or not, but I do think that a lot of people are going to go out and see it. There were actually quite a few kids watching this film when we went to go see it.
Yeah.
So
that's the new rule. R-rated, fine to see on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
PG or PG-13.
They're going to be kids.
Yeah.
There will be kids.
Only after 9 o'clock will I go see it. And even then, the bad parents bring their kids.
That's
and the bad kids
right.
are the worst.
Yes. Yeah. They talk through the film. No, nobody
so
likes that.
We don't really want that.
No.
Other news in Brie Larson.
Okay.
After the gigantic success of her blockbuster film, she has decided to do a show for Apple.
What?
Apple Television, of course, working on their own digital content. They are going to produce a CIA drama series, like a spy fiction type series.
Okay.
It will be female focused, and it will star Brie Larson.
Why is she doing this?
This is not a pilot. This is straight to series.
Yeah, she does not need to do this. She's a movie star. You think it's money?
She's an Oscar-winning movie star.
Yeah.
Money. Right.
You think they're writing her a big check?
Yeah. Why are any of these people doing these big series?
Yeah.
It's money.
I guess.
It's gotta be. It used to be that you couldn't kill somebody's family. You couldn't kidnap a wife or a child to get a quote unquote TV star to do a movie star to do a TV show.
Yeah, right.
And now, left and right, it's like John Malkovich is like, I'll do a Netflix movie. Sure,
I know.
fine.
I know. Okay.
Although it'll all be TV if Steven Spielberg has his way.
Right.
What do you think about that?
About Steven Spielberg or Brie Larson or both?
Steven Spielberg and his crab man things about. Oh, we're watching Arrested Development.
Oh yeah, we are.
Put it off for a long time.
Yes,
but we got to get it done ahead of the new season coming out.
Yeah,
the fact that he thinks that Amazon, Netflix, all these things, Roma, that touching film,
right?
They should not be considered for Oscars.
Oh, I did not know that was his stance.
Pretend like you did.
Okay.
We are pop culture experts.
Well, I don't necessarily 100% disagree with him, but at the same time, I think that Netflix has been doing this for a while and other streaming services. I mean, I think that they are they don't get released in the movie theaters, but I think that they are producing big blockbusters, and I think they are now a part of the conversation of big films. So I don't think that they necessarily should be excluded just because they weren't in theaters.
Do you think the Lumiere brothers would have drowned in their own jizz if you told them that we would create a thing that would allow you to send a movie straight to somebody's brain thousands of miles away? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it has to be tied to the box office, coming from the guy in the baseball cap who is the highest grossing box office guy of all time.
Right.
Now, I think that he'll win ultimately because, first of all, we know that this is the new Pets.com dog puppet bubble that we're looking at, right? Mm-hmm. The streaming thing. Mm-hmm. Like, Netflix is leveraged up to its eyeballs. It has to make some money off of this thing or it's going to go down.
Yes.
And we also know that the Academy will get on their knees for anybody who's got high receipts. Like, they wanted to invent an entirely new category just to give Black Panther an Oscar because it made $1.5 billion.
I know.
And it was ultimately, and it's not a bad movie, but it was ultimately nominated for Best Picture alongside other things like Roma because it made $1.5 billion.
Right.
So they are absolutely in as far as the box office side goes. Why they're letting the Netflix things in, I think it's because they're the town bicycle and they'll let anybody on. But I think if a guy like Spielberg, puts the pedal down to the metal, I think that he might get what he wants.
Okay. So they might exclude...
We've got an American
streaming.
Gods situation, an American Cinema Gods situation.
Yeah,
You've got bogeys like, I don't know, I'm in this diner, and you know how to whistle, don't you?
Right.
And then here comes kid streaming. He skateboards through the window, and he's all digitized, and he's like, the future's now, old man.
Right.
I'll tell you how to whistle.
Oh,
blow.
Wow.
We don't need no stinking old-time movie stars. You can just cut me off.
I don't know. I do think that the times are changing and that like
hey,
yeah, exactly.
Old time song fight. Cardi B's like, you're gonna have Bob Dylan blood under my shoes.
Oh my gosh. I think we have to be open to.
I don't expect anybody to want to listen to this.
Oh, stop. The changing times, and like I think we need to be open to including films that aren't released in theaters.
Great summary. Let's do a bridger here. We'll take a guy that used to be a Marvel guy. Now he's a DC guy. His name is James Gunn.
Yeah.
Don't read his tweets. And here he is. He's directing Suicide Squad 2.
Yes.
The biggest piece of news I can give you about that is Will Smith is out.
Yep.
Because he's got to make Aladdin 2, The Return of Jafar, I guess.
I
know. But
he
is out, and he is being replaced, as far as we know, in talks, I don't think there's anything official yet, by Idris Elba.
Yep.
So, can we bring back that special word?
What special word?
It starts with the same letter. Why?
Oh.
Why is any of this happening?
Why? Money?
A couple years ago, Idris Elba was like the biggest thing.
I know.
He was hot.
Yeah.
Now he's doing another Luther. Because Neil Cross knows where his balls are buried, I guess. Or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
What? He didn't have to do that.
I don't know.
And, he's done he was, speaking of the Netflix thing, he was the Beast of No Nation. That was a big deal.
Right.
But it wasn't a movie. It wasn't a movie.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg not impressed.
Right.
And now he's going to be in a crappy DC retread.
Yeah.
What happened?
I
Does he think that people are going to see him with a gun, go, wow, he looks good with a gun? Never seen that. James Bond.
Maybe. I think he's not going to be Heimdall anymore. So he's going over to DC and he's going to make the best of it and be Deadshot. I think he's counting on people going to go see Suicide Squad too. I think it has potential to be better than the first one. And I think, him being on board is part of that.
Initially, I said that he just didn't want to play second or side fiddle to Margot Robbie. But now,
Will Smith?
Now I'm not sure that Harley Quinn will even be in this.
Oh, you don't think so?
How far can they stretch her? Do you know what I mean? Like, she's doing like 2 or 3 other things.
I know she
just
is.
for them. And then she's also got
Quinn.
her entire own production company.
Yeah, I know.
So I think that she might make a cameo, but I think it'll probably be Deadshot's movie. So it's even weirder.
That Will Smith wouldn't want to do it? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it just seemed like, also, he's Will Smith. He doesn't need them. So it just, Affleck's gone, just seemed like a fresh, good time to step away.
Maybe he didn't enjoy it as much as he thought he would, or maybe he felt like it didn't do as well as he anticipated, and therefore he didn't want to be part of a second one. It did fine. It just didn't do gangbusters, It wasn't.
That's another Gangbusters. Somebody else, I think.
It was not a Captain Marvel.
Maybe Blockbuster will be in it. Well, I'll tell you who's going to be in it.
Okay.
We've learned that several other DC villains turned reluctant heroes will be in the film. We've heard that Ratcatcher will be in the film.
Oh, great! I don't even know who that is, but they've got an awful name.
It's not great.
No.
It's a Batman villain.
Of course
King
it
Shark.
is. Awesome.
Because maybe King Shark and King Croc can fight.
Great.
The Polka Dot Man.
What? Is that another Batman villain? It sounds like a Batman villain.
Yep.
Okay, because Batman has some really lame villains. He has some of the best villains in DC history, and he has some of the worst villains
go together
in DC history.
And Peacemaker will be in it.
Okay. Peacemaker obviously is not a peacemaker.
It's funny. Ironic, he loves peace so much he'll kill people. It's kind of like going, "No yelling on the bus."
Oh my gosh,
he's
great!
just a walking irony.
Okay. So it sounds like we're gonna have a whole cast of different characters. So
I'm gonna do this for you right now.
Okay.
Ready? Mm-hmm. Condiment King, no brainer.
Yeah.
Mr. Zaz. Right. Anarchy. And Catman.
Catman?
There are 4 better ones right off the bat.
I know.
And let's say that you don't want to keep it specifically to, Catman. You don't want to keep it specifically to Task Force X. What's the other book? Secret Six or whatever it is. Poison Ivy. We haven't seen Poison Ivy in this universe yet.
No, we haven't.
Go find a hot redhead chick and just throw her in there, and she's throwing plants at people or whatever.
Absolutely.
Whatever she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Well, they're not doing that.
Okay. Well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, me either. I know that The Flash is getting another rewrite.
The movie
yes.
for The Flash?
Yes.
Is this going to happen, ever? That's what I want to know.
Money will win. Money will always win. We know that.
All right.
But we know that the directors, John Francis Daly, and Jonathan Goldstein, the kid from Freaks and Geeks, and his partner, who did Spider-Man Homecoming, have been tapped to direct it, the 5th or 6th of many. And they are, in their capacity as writers, are rewriting the script.
Okay. I kind of... It makes me question how good it is when something has to be rewritten multiple times. And, when we find out something like Spider-Man Homecoming, for example, didn't have, 6 writers.
Yes.
And despite that, was actually a pretty decent film.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Maybe it'll be fine, but it just makes me question things when I hear that, it's being rewritten yet again. It's like, well, why? What is so bad about it? Why is it being rewritten again?
You are a police crime lab investigator.
Yes.
You are late to everything. You know, somewhat unreliable. One night you're working in your lab on that hot... There's a new villain in town. We can't figure out how he's killing people. And you're struck by lightning.
Yep.
Hell, you can even make it the Weathered Wizard. If you got to do that thing where you connect the good guy and the bad guy have to be connected. We'll get to that in our review, Captain Marvel. He gets struck by lightning. He now has the ability to run very
really
fast. High metabolism, fast healing factor. Can throw lightning balls sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Right.
Why is that hard?
I don't know how that's hard.
Why is that hard?
And he's funny.
And he tells some jokes.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it that there are 6 seasons of a TV show that you want to differentiate yourself from?
That could be.
Why? Why bother?
I don't know. Why are you trying so hard to make it something so different?
Yeah. Your dad is in prison
Right.
for killing your mom.
Right. Which he didn't do.
I just said he was in prison. I didn't say
Yeah, I know. So, yeah.
I feel like this thing is writing itself.
Yeah.
At super speed.
Uh-huh.
But apparently not.
Apparently not.
You got cool effects. Oh, maybe that's something else. Quicksilver's already eaten your lunch 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, uh-huh.
In 1 second because
Yeah.
he's fast.
Yes, exactly.
So, but it's proven. It's proven that people will show up for that. You know, you're not going to get to play like a Jim Croce song, but that's fine. You can still. He does all kinds of weird stuff. He's flicking guys at super speed,
Right.
running up buildings.
Right.
This thing's done.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
understand why it's so hard either.
Let's bounce back to Marvel really quick. I wanted to mention that it looks like we might get might have a villain for Black Widow.
Oh, okay. Who's the villain?
Well, screenwriter Ned Benson has been taking a shot at the script. Again, this is another script that we are
Rewriting?
still rewriting. Mm-hmm. Yep. But they are looking for a young actress,
Okay.
15 to 25 years old, to audition
pretty young.
for a role.
Okay.
That will be...
The villain.
No, there are 2 characters.
Oh.
This is one. Something like a young... We don't know if it's a young version of Black Widow.
Okay.
Or a protege situation.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
A Yelena Belova, perhaps. Like, the future's now, old lady.
Right.
Zap.
Wow.
And so they're looking at a lot of people, and a lot of the names they're looking at are, like, you know, the girl from Wrinkle in Time. Like, we're not looking for
Okay.
white girl here.
Okay.
So, sorry, the Vivitch.
Yeah. Right. I don't remember what her name is either.
I know your shooting has been done for New Mutants for a while, right? So
right.
You're available, but we don't want you.
Yeah.
We're looking for somebody diverse for this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool.
So, yeah, that seems to me that it will be set in the present day. Mm-hmm. When I think we all agreed that a period piece would probably be
The way to go.
better.
Yeah. I want to see what happened in Budapest.
But we don't always get what we want.
No, we don't.
Coming up, Captain Marvel review.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Andre Holland, who was most recently seen in Moonlight, is in the mix for the villain of Black Widow.
Do we have any idea who it is?
No.
Any guesses?
The fact that he is a black man doesn't say anything.
Oh, okay. All right. Could be any number of villains.
You think you're Black Widow? Check this out.
Right. All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that then. What?
Yeah, but it's our job to speculate, right?
Yeah, I know. I don't really know who her villains are, though.
Doesn't really have any.
Oh, okay.
She's got Yelena Belova, the Red Guardian, I guess, various Russian superpowered
teachers in the Red Room.
Yeah, right. And then she can kind of get into, you know, any S.H.I.E.L.D. bad guys, so maybe Hydra or AIM.
Sure.
Her chauffeur. So she can never get her own book. I mean, now she can. She's had a book for the last, 5-6 years. But for a long time, she just got these miniseries, and they really ran out of things to talk about.
Okay.
They introduced Yelena Belova as she's the new hotness. Look out, Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And they didn't get rid of Natasha, but they clearly planned to supplant her with
the
new blonde widow.
Right.
Fans hated it. So they basically just kill her off, and she's like a joke.
Great.
So I think she was part of the Dark Avengers or something like that, like during the whole Siege Norman Osborn thing.
Okay.
So they ditched that, and then after that, they kind of ran out of stuff. They did like, yeah, she's going to bust up a white slavery ring. Yeah, something's wrong with her uterus. It's just a bunch of like male writers going through all the female bullshit.
Okay.
And the whole time she had Ivan or whatever, like her guy that took care of her and was a chauffeur. And then they turned out that like,
evil?
oh, he was a mastermind villain the entire time. He was behind it all. Yeah, it's great stuff. So maybe that's why it's hard to write this thing.
Yeah, that could be.
There's nothing to pull from.
Yeah. There's not the great history of
She's
comics.
basically just been the butt in the Avengers for a long time.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's really too bad.
Write a Martian Manhunter movie. Go. Easy.
Well, he's the last of his kind.
It's set in the 50s.
Yeah.
You have to. It's a noir. It's a superhero noir.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So he's late 40s, atomic scientist. I don't remember his name because I'm a bad fan.
John Jones?
The scientist transports him from, I was going to say Dr. Erskine, but that's not, he created the super soldier serum.
Okay.
Transports him from Mars, right? Then he dies. Manhunter's stuck, in like 1950 L.A. Mm-hmm. He becomes a private detective, John Jones.
Sure.
He's cruising around, then he's like flying through things, becoming invisible. He's got to get some clues.
Right.
And then, I don't know, you bring a big monster out at the end.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Writes itself.
Yeah.
He's got a love interest.
Sure.
The 1950s Black Canary.
Sure.
Which, these sliding timelines, it's getting a little rough now because that can't really be like Dinah or whatever. It's going to have to be like Grandma.
Right.
Grandma Black Canary.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that could work.
She's a femme fatale. He's like,
sure.
I think she's in on this, but she's working it from the other side.
Right.
It's a stealth Black Canary movie.
That sounds good.
I know. You know what doesn't sound good?
What?
The Lord of the Rings series on Amazon.
Oh, really? Why? What's going on with that?
Everybody thought, you thought it was going to be about Aragorn. Mm-hmm. He's our character we can connect to.
Sure.
You recast him. Get some brown-haired dude with stubble. It's
right.
No offense, Vigo, but I think we can imagine it's Vigo.
Sure.
And his life spans much of the history of the Third Age.
Sure.
So he's our... Stop saying sure. He's our anthology character.
Uh-huh.
Good.
What?
He's our guy who weaves in and out of all these events, right? And so it's not going to be that.
Oh, what is it going to be?
I mean, we don't know for sure, but all Amazon does is they release these maps. And when they released the one map, we were like, okay... Now they're releasing maps, and this is how they're giving us clues, I guess. Because the last map they released had, in the sea, the continent of Numenor.
Okay, give me background on that. I'm not super familiar with the books, so what does that mean?
Audience, pretend like she knows.
Okay,
Pretend
fine.
like she knows. Numenor is the great kingdom of men, the Numenor. It's a star-shaped continent that the long-lived men of Numenor come from. I think it was at the end of the First Age. At the end of the First Age, when they were fighting the Dark Lord Morgoth, there were men who answered the call.
Numenor?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
If you don't know, you don't know. They answered the call. They've helped fight the Dark Lord, and after the destruction of Beleriand and all that, remember, gods, the gods, the LSR, well, they're the elves. Okay, now I'm falling apart here. The Vanir, nope, that's what it's based on. Anyway, they live in Toloresa, they live in the Undying Lands. They live in Aman.
Okay.
Right? They're part of things. They're in the world, right?
Yes.
You see them walking around.
Yes.
In the Third Age of Middle-earth, when we pick up with Lord of the Rings, they have removed themselves from the world. They don't interfere anymore. It's a metaphor about the time of miracles in the Bible, and now it's like, well, I don't see Jesus walking down Fifth Avenue, on top of a puddle or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So where are the gods? And it's like, in this world, they've removed themselves. And that's why the elves are like, this party's dead. Let's get out of here. They're all sailing west to heaven, to the Undying Lands.
Right.
Well, rewind now. At the beginning of the Second Age, the quote-unquote gods went, nice job, men. We're going to create this place for you to live called Numenor, and we're going to gift you with like this long eternal life, basically, or at least you're going to live for a long, long time. So they created like this heaven on earth kingdom where there was amazing advances in science and they're just people and stuff like that. But they, Sauron, who at this time was called Anatar, the giver of gifts, was captured by them and brought, and it's like the ring. It's like, just kill this guy, like throw it in the fire. And they're like, no, let's let it hang around. So they let Anatar like hang out, and he poisoned the minds of men, with his honeyed words, and all this. And at the same time, like, was creating the rings or whatever, giving the rings out to everybody.
Sure.
So basically, like, the gods said, Numenor, you guys can do whatever you want as long as you don't try to come to the Undying Lands. Like, you don't sail west. Your continent is west of the main continent of Middle-earth. Mm-hmm. All these lands are yours, but don't, like, challenge the gods. Don't build your Tower of Babel. See, this is the parallel, that Tolkien has built into, like, our real-world mythology.
Sure.
So basically, Anatar, Sauron, is like pumping them up and like, you guys can do whatever you want.
You can go west.
You can do whatever you want. So they're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go chill out with the gods. So they do that the second they set foot on in Aman. Numenor sinks. This is Atlantis.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Right?
Yeah.
It sinks. The entire civilization of Numenor is destroyed. The only people of that ilk and bloodline that are left are the people that live in Ilithian in Middle-earth. These are the Rangers. These are the, like, ancestors of people
Aragorn?
like Aragorn. Yeah.
Okay.
So that pretty much begins the Third Age. Sauron also dies when the island goes down. But divorced from his physical form, his spirit is able to return to Mordor. And that's why in The Lord of the Rings, I know he's a big guy with a mace or whatever, he has an eyeball. He's still not able to, become physical. He's just like a presence in Mordor in the books.
All right. Okay, so it sounds like it's not going to take place during the period of the books.
No, I think it's going to lead up to the destruction of Numenor.
Is that what people want?
I don't.
Okay, why don't you not want
here's
that?
Here's why.
Yeah.
This is, now, Chris Tolkien is in his mid-80s. We're not going to get any more of these stories. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Chris Tolkien is his son.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a situation where, we hate it when people like add to something that's amazing and like, hey, here's some more stories. But really, like, there will be no more stories unless we add them ourselves, right?
Yes.
So this is a great, you can't criticize them for going prequel on this.
Okay.
That being said, I don't care. I don't care. Mm-hmm. This is the Rogue One-iest choice that you can make. Mm-hmm. We know what happens. And sure, an entire age of a super advanced, like, immortal race of human beings.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to the men in a second. That can do whatever they want. OP. I mean, it seems, okay, sure, there could be some cool stories there, but we know how it ends. The whole thing is just a monument to and a parable about pride, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You can tell that in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Not like a 4 or 5 season show story, It's all going to lead up to them being destroyed. Uh-huh. Why not do something that's a little more open-ended or something a little more lyrical? Why not, Beren and Luthien? Why not the fall of Gondolin? Why not a million things that take place in? Why not start at the top? Why not just have the elves leaving Aman for the first time, like the Talari or whatever it is, like they're all going to Middle Earth. Why not start with the Manwë and Aiul and they're singing the song of creation? Iluvatar.
Sure. Why not?
Instead, they're going to go, a bunch of white guys with long blonde hair are all bulked up in their suits and their swords, and it's like we don't need that.
Well, why not tell like a bunch of stories from the Silmarillion or something like that?
I just described a bunch of stories from the Silmarillion.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
This just seems like the broiest thing to do, and I know that if you look at a series about a bunch of white guys and no ladies, except for one who's like really cool, yeah, then maybe they're just following that. But good art can always be recontextualized, and we can find new facets of it. And so I would really like them to see them tell stories that aren't just orc gets an arrow in the face.
Right. Do you think they're putting this out as like a feeler type thing, and like if they get a bunch of negative feedback, they'll like be like, whoa, just kidding, here's a new map? Or do you think this is...
I have no idea how these things are written.
Right.
I know how American Gods is written. You take this fat-ass book and you go, love it, gotta lose a lot of it. I don't think he's going to have sex with a cat lady. I don't think we're going to do that.
Right.
Taking The Lord of the Rings and just going... Not how do we turn this into a TV show, but also, I don't know how much of it Amazon owns or wants to do with it, but how do we turn this into many TV shows? How do we turn this into the CW DC franchise?
Yeah.
You know, there's enough pages here, right? So how do we do it? So I think they're open to different techniques and avenues, but I don't think that they're sitting by the Twitter waiting for it to ring, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea.
Okay. All right.
So I think that if they're showing us this, unless next week they show us a map of Beleriand and next week they show us a map of Amman or something like that, and they're just taking us around the world, fine. But it seems like this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not super excited about it.
That's too bad.
Why not tell a tale about the Blue Wizards, you know? Tell a tale about the Eastern lands, you know, and the Easterlings and stuff like that. Like, go places that Tolkien never went.
Right. Instead of covering something.
I've played enough Lord of the Rings role-playing games where people can come up with stuff.
Yeah.
You might argue that it's not as good as the original stuff, but well done, thou good and faithful 3 first-named person. You have come up with, a lot of stuff. You've come up with enough stuff that we can knit entirely new things out of this thread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's too bad they're going prequel on it. I feel like that's kind of like the easy way out. I feel like there's a lot of like prequel stuff these days. And I don't think that people are as excited about that sort of thing as you may anticipate. I don't know why producers and writers seem to go there as much as they do.
Well, like we said, they don't have a choice.
I guess.
That's all that exists.
Yeah, I guess. Seems like they probably could make something else up, though, like you said, and have it be more interesting.
We've had Lord of the Rings, but what about second Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
When the truth is found to be lies, and all the joy within you dies, don't you?
It's the best Marvel movie that's set primarily in Louisiana.
Yes.
We're here to talk about Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Yes.
The 21st film, but who's counting? By Marvel Studios in
Think
the
we
Marvel
are.
Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
When are they going to add Blade to that total?
I don't know.
Stop messing around.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is only the first Blade technically Marvel and the other two are New Line or whatever?
Gosh, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know what the ownership situation is.
I don't either.
But, Marvel owns, Whistler and Blade, but they don't own the Blood Pack.
Right.
They don't own Scud
Right.
or whatever, Daryl from The Walking Dead.
Right.
I don't know. Starring, of course, that lady, Brie Larson, as
Yes.
Carol Danvers,
Yep.
or Veers.
Yes.
She's known for a lot of the film. Starring some other people, like one Samuel L. Jackson. Mm-hmm. We've got Mendo. Ben Mendelsohn is here
Yes.
to play a Skrull guy.
Yes.
You also have Lashana Lynch, who I was not familiar with
Yeah.
previously, but enjoyed much in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And Annette Bening, of course, is on board. And I'm guessing getting the with credit, and then Jude Law gets the and credit, the last one,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, you're kind of the most famous, successful guy. I mean, I guess it's first Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
But you're actually not in it a ton. So
Right.
And Jude Law.
Yeah, I know. And Clark Gregg. We'll add him in.
No,
at
he
the
can't
end
be
there,
in
too.
it.
Oh.
He gets the one right after and.
All right.
Jude
all right.
Law.
Okay.
Also starring Clark
Yeah.
Gregg.
Right. Exactly.
He's the top of the bottoms.
Yes. Yes.
What happens in Captain Marvel?
Well, we open up on Hala, which is the Kree homeworld. Hala. And Brie Larson, or Veers, excuse me, as she's known at the beginning of the film, goes and fights Jude Law at the beginning because she...
Oh, you're going to do that thing where you say, go scene by scene?
Yeah, okay.
Through every single event?
Yeah.
Is challah in the bakery system? What's a Jewish bakery called?
I don't know what a Jewish bakery is called. It's terrible.
It's challah is right next to it's the sister planet of Babka. And,
sure.
Come on,
baklava and
well, that's Greek, but
yeah.
If we're just gonna go, it's all just bread products. Kind of like all the scions are vegetables or whatever.
Sure.
Raditz and kakarot and Vegeta.
Yes.
How come isn't there the planet's called Vegeta, isn't it? So why are they scions? Shouldn't they be from Saya or something?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. And then she goes to see the Supreme Intelligence, which is
we are doing it.
A being who it appears to be whoever you most look up to in your life, and she sees Annette Bening, and she doesn't know why.
Yeah, which seems like she wouldn't really look up to that person.
Yeah,
but...
right. But she has amnesia. Like,
I'm
she can only remember the most.
Oh no,
6
you're back
years.
to the story point. Okay.
Yeah, so she has amnesia. She only remembers the last 6 years. They go on a mission. She gets kidnapped by the Skrulls. They are looking at her memories. And she's like getting flashes of stuff, and she doesn't know why. She escapes, and she ends up on Earth, which the Kree call C-53, planet C-53. And she's fighting the Skrulls when she gets there, and she runs into Nick Fury and Clark Gregg.
Agent Coulson.
Yes, Agent Coulson and Agent Fury. And she ends up working with Fury and looking into... she got flashes of Annette Bening, and she figured she was a scientist named Lawson. So she wants to go find Lawson and Project Pegasus. And that's kind of how the movie starts.
Oh, we're just starting?
Yeah.
Okay.
You laughing at me?
We're not. We don't want to spoil stuff, I guess.
We can spoil it later.
Right. Okay. So yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. All that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. It's almost all spoilers, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Give some general impressions of the movie. No, screw you. I'm going to talk. Yeah, this is weird.
Okay.
I feel like this is the first I've heard. Did I hear this or say it? Who can remember? That's not what your country can do for you. I was saying in the shower the other day. This is the first movie for me in a while that it feels like a DC movie and not a Marvel movie.
Oh.
You know how Marvel movies like covers all its bases usually? Mm-hmm. Even though it's not always that great. Like,
yeah.
I don't really care if Scott Lang figures it out.
Right.
Or has a tank keychain or whatever. Or beats Corey Stoll. Talk about Rent-A-Villain.
Yeah, I know.
That's what this feels like to me. Like, this is what I've heard. I've heard it feels like a Phase 1 movie. It feels like a Phase 1 origin movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but even Iron Man, which was apparently just written on set, was tighter than this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of loose ends. This movie does not hang together all that well. And it varies widely in tone. Mm-hmm. You know, ostensibly, this is a story about a person who is also a woman. Mm-hmm. A woman.
Yes.
Who is trying to find her own strength, her own guiding star, trying to get confidence in herself, you know, be her own person, her own hero.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably every hero story is about that, but that's spotlighted in this. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the biggest thread that you can hold on to in this film. But everything else veers so wildly from comedy to drama to knowing who the bad guys are to not really having bad guys to speak of to
right.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can hold on to.
No.
I would compare it, you know what? I compare it to Thor.
Okay.
In that Thor features a sort of depowered, I guess he's not amnesiac, but like Thor, who we know what we've got. We've got this amazing
God of
this
Thunder.
guy. He's just flying around, killing giant dogs and stuff. Then we go to Earth, and he hangs out on Earth for like an hour. And then it's like, are you worthy? You got to be worthy. And he's like, I'm worthy. It's over.
Right.
This is what it felt like to me.
Uh-huh.
You know, she comes to Earth. She's the fish that's out of the water, so to speak. And she just kind of jerks off for an hour. And then she wins.
Yeah. I mean, that's more or less it. She overcomes the bad guys, I guess you could say, and
Nailed it.
And she becomes more powerful because she believes in herself. And yeah, her cat is an alien. I don't know. Mild spoiler.
Sold.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wish we got like a little more background from the characters in this. Like maybe we'd seen a little bit more of what her quote unquote life was on Hala, or we got to see a little bit more of like what Agent Coulson and Agent Fury were up to before they ran into this. I mean, we hear that Agent Coulson is relatively new to S.H.I.E.L.D., and we're not really sure how long Fury has been there.
No, and there's a line in the trailers where he's like, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I was ready to hang it up, but then I met you. And I was like,
Yes.
whoa, what's going on? I don't think that line is in the movie.
No, it's not in the film.
And there is no indication that he's coming from anywhere. He's just, hey, look, it's Nick Fury.
Right. And I kind of would have, because it's kind of an origin story for him too, I kind of would have liked to have had a little bit more background on him.
Well, we get some.
I guess. He doesn't like toast that's diagonally cut. That's about it.
Are you ready to spoil this thing?
Yeah, I'm ready to spoil it.
What's your rating?
I would give it I don't know, an A- or a B. That's what I would give it.
I'm tired of giving halves.
Yeah.
I don't like 10. I like 5. That's a nice round number.
Mm-hmm.
But I always do halves. And I'm starting to realize that I think I need a little more precision in my review scale.
Okay.
So I am going to 10. And I'm going to say 5 out of 10.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That's not very good.
By comparison,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, also 5 out of 10. Ant-Man, 4 out of 10. Maybe
Okay.
3.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so you're putting it on par with Doctor Strange.
this is a C.
Okay.
You passed.
Oh wow. That's not very good.
No, I mean, that's passing.
I guess.
It's not a D, see me after class. F, you better. I hope you're good with your hands.
So right. Where does this movie fall down for you?
What I think I want to talk about that in spoiler talk.
Okay, well, shall we move
Starts
on to
now.
spoiler talk? Yeah.
They don't have a handle on the character.
Yeah.
They don't know why they're telling this story.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I don't know why they're telling this story, other than it's way, way, way past time to have not only a female character leading a movie, but also to just bring some more people in. But I think it's too late. I think that
Okay.
we know that Rocket Raccoon, Black Panther, like these characters are going to lead us into the next.
Phase.
I think we called it cycle.
Oh, okay.
Into cycle 2 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
as all the characters we've been following for 10 years
I
are going to
know.
leave. But it's still their story.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're trying to jam her in here right before she shows
the
up again
end
in
game?
2 months
Yeah,
to
I
be an
know.
endgame.
I know.
And I don't think they know what they want to do beyond she's somebody who has, her belief in herself has faltered, and now she believes in herself.
Right.
Doesn't every hero do that?
Yeah, to some
Every hero
extent.
does that,
Yes.
don't they?
Yeah.
There's nothing special about that.
No, there's not. And we get some flashbacks of her as like a little kid, or like in
It's
the
just
Air
her as a little
Force.
kid.
I know. Or her in the Air Force, but we don't really get a huge chunk
No,
of
and
that.
you and I were like, oh, I can't wait. Like 10 minutes of this thing is going to be like Top Gun. They're going to be like doing Top Gun stuff.
Right.
And, no, we're just literally we're just told that she was a pilot.
And we're gonna watch
She has a
her.
friend who's a pilot who
Yeah.
flies a plane later.
Yeah.
And then initially the way that she sort of gets into all this is which we predicted, but it was in the trailer basically is like she's has this like dogfight in which she's shot down. It's just not really important. It's taken as understood from the comic that she is a military woman, that she is a pilot and all that, but we don't see her as part of we are told a lot. I know a soldier when I see one.
Right.
But she does, and I guess she's in a space military or whatever.
Yes.
But we don't get a sense of her as she's like this. Like Cap was like in the army, but he definitely didn't necessarily belong there. Like he wanted to do it, but he was always that guy. And even with the thing like get the flag down from the pole, he takes the pole down. Like he thinks differently. He doesn't think like a military man, which makes him the guy for this job. But I wanted to see what is it like to have this character like Rhodey, or even like Arm Guy.
Bucky, yeah.
What is it? What does she bring to this character of a soldier?
Or Sam Wilson or something.
Yeah, oh sure, or yeah, Falcon.
Yeah.
I don't know. So maybe now I'm thinking maybe we've got too many of those. But we've
got a lot of soldiers, but
yeah,
she's a female soldier.
version of that. Yeah,
so
she's sort of
she would have a different experience.
I think she dated Rhodey in the comics, didn't she? She's basically like female Rhodey.
Yeah.
And we don't ever get that, and we don't really get it from the Kree side of it either. Like she's she's part of this thing, and it's like remember your training and stop telling jokes. Jokes aren't funny.
Right.
I'm your boss.
Right.
And then the first 10 minutes of the movie, they're like infiltrating this village, and they're using like alien spy shit, and I'm like, this is my jam. I'm into this.
Yeah.
A little did I know that was the first 10 minutes of the movie, and it would none of the rest of the movie would be that.
Yeah.
It would be her driving around in a car with Samuel L. Jackson.
I know. And
we get it. It is set in the 90s.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Did we leave? We actually left out a ton of female-fronted 90s bands.
Like Alanis Morissette, like the Cranberries.
Yeah.
The Cardigans. I mean, but they did include quite a bit, too.
Got Hole in there.
Oh, gosh. But it's Hole from 1998, and this movie takes place in 1995.
Whatever. No, who cares?
I care. Get your hole right. I'm just saying. Anyways.
I gotta write something down.
Hey. I thought the movie choices were rather obvious. The song choices. The movie choices. I don't know. Like Samuel L. Jackson, I think you mentioned this before. He's a little bit more laid back in this. He's like not like super serious Sam Jackson yet.
Well, you mentioned like as an introduction to Nick Fury as a character, we get no sense of how he evolves into guy in a leather trench coat.
Right.
And that's... we've talked on this show previously, and we've gone back a ways about this. Just how... What... Is there a goal at this point to, like Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, stretch backwards? We're going to keep telling stories, clearly. But if we don't just say that Iron Man was the first superhero ever, which we've already kind of said because we've got Captain America and we've got the Winter Soldier's been active since World War II or whatever.
Right.
Can we sort of, 1989, a couple years after this movie, or before this movie, Bucky's throttling the Starks to death.
Right.
Are we going to try to create a cinematic history the way the Marvel Universe has a history? And it seemed like yes, and this was going to be the first shot in that war, and it's nothing.
It doesn't really tell us
Nick
much of
Fury
anything.
is just laid back, has two eyes, and loves drinking sweet tea. He's drinking tea in every single scene, which I guess is supposed to communicate that he's laid back, but to me seems like the actor was given no direction.
Right.
to do
well,
anything.
and we don't get a whole lot of information on Coulson really either. He's just new at his job.
Yeah, he's in 2 scenes.
And he lets Nick Fury get away at one point.
Yep.
That's about it.
So I guess that's supposed to explain why
they
Fury
have a connection,
trusts him, or they have a bond.
Yeah.
But
why couldn't we have seen like more of that bond? And
well, why bring him back and then he doesn't do anything?
that was a problem that I had with many characters that they brought back and they didn't do anything with. Like Digimon
Like
Hutsu
Ronin?
and Ronin.
Yeah.
Like Digimon Hutsu, like we didn't need to see him lose
He's
part
not-
of his head
Don't
and
call him.
get.
Don't call him Digimon Hunsu.
Oh, I'm sorry. How do you say his name?
Jimon.
Jimon.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimon Hutsu. Like we did not need to see him lose part of his head and then get like
yeah,
a robot
Carol shoots
part.
off part of his head, and now it's like
Right.
It's the Rogue Oneing. Of,
Yeah.
but they didn't even do that.
No, they didn't do that, and that's fine. But give him something more to do than almost tell Ronin where they're going.
He literally, and he disappears. So she fights the Star Force at the end. And I was just thinking
Yeah.
about this. We know Jan Rog is a jerk, and
Yes.
we'll talk about the villain in a second. We know he's like a bad guy, but everybody else is just.
Following his orders.
10 seconds ago, Carol was one of them.
Yes.
They're just doing their job.
I know.
We don't see that, like, the bearded guy is a pedophile. We don't see that the I don't know how else to describe him, Atlas or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
We don't see that he cheats on his taxes or something like that.
Right.
Like, they're just doing what she does. And instead of being like, Jan Rog's been manipulating us, you guys can do whatever, maybe some of them go, all right. And then, of course, the other girl, Minerva,
Yes, is a jerk.
I'm just a girl who's really petty and a bitch.
Yeah, I
And
know.
we hate each other because we didn't hang out or shop together.
All right, calm down.
They're trying to do this female empowerment thing, and then they have this scene where the two women have to like be catty with each other.
I know.
And not just, I see what you've been wronged, but I'm a professional, Veers, and
Right.
so I have to do my job. She's
Right.
like, I understand. Let's get down.
Right.
No, it's just like you're a bitch. So are you.
Pretty much. And gosh, I don't know. I liked Goose the cat, but
No. We're not done. So
So yeah, and they gave Ronin like next to nothing to do.
he literally. That was such a bad scene. He's in makeup that kind of looks like the Guardians makeup,
Yes.
but they almost like it. He looks like a this is like a Halloween spirit store like version of like a Ronin costume.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he and some other guy
Who's another
we've
accuser?
never seen before
Yeah.
could have been Karen Gillan.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Right?
Are literally just standing in front of like
A blue screen
cyber
or
backdrop.
something, yeah.
I think it was practical, but it's literally
Okay.
just they just built a wall and went
Mm-hmm.
just look. Oh, you're definitely looking at the thing. You see Captain Marvel out there. He's not walking around. He doesn't have a scene or a ship or anything.
He's
like
not
that.
yelling at any of
He-
his minions
No,
or
he's
anything.
just like brought in from some other movie.
I know. It was really disappointing. I'm all for it bringing characters back, but give them something to do.
Yeah.
And like make them their return mean something.
But that was just everything in here. Like we thought that it's just a gimmick. The 90s is a gimmick. I thought it would be a chance to, when you are going back in time, like Robert Downey Jr. He puts on the cyber glasses or whatever. His mom's playing Try to Remember or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a Less Than Zero shirt or whatever. I know
Right.
he was in the movie, whatever. That's set in the 80s, but we're not here to listen to a Flock of Seagulls song. We are here to explore the histories of our characters. And the
Yes.
90s was literally just they went to Planet 90s. So
Yeah.
play a whole song in a blockbuster.
Wear a 9 Inch Nails shirt.
Yeah, and that's like pretty much it. And then again, you milk a little humor out of it, like the CD-ROMs or
The
whatever.
loading, the
But
internet's
it also
loading.
it's never really a problem because she can just go to a Radio Shack and create a interplanetary communicator
I know.
from a phone. So
I know.
there's no limitations to the specific setting that you've chosen.
Yeah.
I didn't expect her to like beat 2 out of 3 on Street Fighter 2 against Jan Rog to see who wins the galaxy.
Right. But it feels like it should have been more than like a jukebox for
Plus-
the 90s.
Yeah, and setting it in the past and not taking advantage of this point of historicity in the Marvel Universe is a problem. Also, it just complicates things. This complicates everything now. I guess we didn't know much about the Tesseract before, but now it doesn't make really any sense.
Yeah.
And also, like, the whole point of like Thor coming to Earth and S.H.I.E.L.D. being like, oh, okay, so we were worried about Hydra, but this is a really big deal.
Yeah.
We got to make some blue weapons or whatever.
Right.
They already knew about aliens.
Yes.
Because a bunch of them exploded in the sky over New Mexico in 1995.
Right. Right.
But that's why he
nobody
created
talked
the
about it.
Protector. I'm sorry, I mean the Avenger Initiative.
Right. I know.
It's making connections that are unnecessary. It's explaining things that were already explained. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, cheapening explanations.
Yes.
Because now we have to go through life knowing that a cat took out Nick Fury's eye.
Yeah. Which was just disappointing because of what he said in a previous film. Like last time I trusted somebody, I lost my eye.
Yeah.
How can you? Yeah. It's just frustrating.
I just don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say
I'm
either.
pretty much out of... I just don't know what else to say.
Marvell is in this. Annette Bening plays Marvell.
The answer is right under our nose because
Yes.
before this we said, I don't know how they're going to do this without Marvell.
Yes.
And the answer was right in front of us. They
didn't.
did have Marvell.
Yeah.
Marvell was shot to death and died in the sand, which
Yeah,
is
she was
really inglorious end for
ineffectual.
such an important character.
Yeah.
She'll never get to die of cancer, I guess. Maybe that wasn't so important.
Wow.
And also doubling her as the Supreme Intelligence
Yes.
is worthless. It seems like one of those things where it's like, oh, she's the face that you admire and idolize, but it's also that face that is telling you that you can never make it, and so you have to kill the Buddha, kill your parents, kill whatever to beat it.
Yeah.
But first of all, it doesn't make any sense because she doesn't even remember her. So why does the Supreme Intelligence even appear to her as that?
I know.
Except Annette Bening needs to have some more screen time.
Yeah.
And second of all, does she admire Lawson? They don't have any significant interactions.
No, they don't.
There wasn't a time where Carol's just really been getting it from the guys on the PT course or whatever, and then she runs into Lawson in the bar and she's like, somebody told me once. The whole thing of her losing her memories super undercuts her development, trying to establish this female character who has fought sexism, who has fought abusive parent, has fought all this stuff to become this. She doesn't know about any of that. She doesn't remember it. She can't access it. It's not really her story. Mm-hmm. And then having the dumb twist of Jan Rog being the guy that shoots her or whatever, or shoots Marvel, whatever.
Right.
It means that he is essentially the villain of the film.
Yes.
He is not even in the film for most of it.
Yes.
And then after all this stuff comes on, he shows up and is like, hey, what's up? And then she just shoots him Indiana Jones style. And, oh, wow, what a triumph.
I know.
That structure doesn't make any sense. It's not successful in its unorthodoxy. It's just, why is any of this happening?
I know. And then another thing for me, which was maybe an interesting take, but I feel like kind of undertakes things, is the Skrulls show up and then we find out later, oh, they're really just refugees and they just want to go home. They just want to find a home. Yeah. When they're supposed to be some of the biggest bad guys. I did read in one article, why did they focus on Talos's, the Skrull daughter, so much? And they're like, well, maybe she's going to be the one who comes back to Earth later and does the huge invasion thing.
She's Varanki?
Yeah.
Why do they do that, though?
I don't know, but make some interesting choices, you know?
It's one of those things where I always point to Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Kenneth Branagh's doing Hamlet.
Yes.
It's 4 hours long.
Yes.
He's doing essentially every line, although some was cut. And we've just seen Hamlet over and over and over again. So he's going to make some different choices. What if Polonius wasn't a foolish old man? What if he was like a spy master and he knew what was going on the entire time? Then why does he get stabbed behind a curtain?
Yeah,
that
that
things
entirely
just have to
changes
be a certain
the character.
way.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they made all these choices let's cast Mendo, who you will instantly see as a villain. And we're aided by the fact that he has green skin and point. He looks like the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
So what a bad guy. And then what a twist. He's not the bad guy.
I know.
But yeah. So basically you're leaving us with no bad guy? There's no bad guy.
Yeah, and then why does he show up at Maria?
There is a bad guy.
I know.
There's Jude Law.
Yes.
Who's taken out immediately. There is... I did kind of like how when she finally fights the Star Force, they're just hopelessly outnumbered.
Yeah.
you can make, but the visual storytelling wasn't strong enough that we see that. Whereas before she could barely punch Jude Law's punching her in the face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's just going to steamroll like this squad of like elite, blue skin killers.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be okay. So there's a joy in that, right? She's like, "Holy crap, I'm super powerful now."
Right.
And they try to make her like give her good lines, but because we don't just want her scowling throughout the movie,
right?
But I never bought that she was sort of impish and like, they give her lines like, "Oh, I got a little lunchbox here. Who wants some lunch?" Or that's not one of the lines, but
right.
But it just never. I don't want to put it down to Brie Larson, but
you just didn't buy her performance.
Let's just say that Brie Larson didn't have the charisma to save bad writing.
Fair,
but the writing was
lacking,
not strong.
Yeah. I do feel like Talos, like, even though we're supposed to feel like he's like a good guy, like I feel like
by the way, the only Skrull in the Marvel universe who can't shapeshift, and they picked him as the bad guy,
and yet he does shapeshift.
Yeah, could have been Pybok, could have been. You could have started off to try to get some Super Skrull in there.
Right.
This is like Super Skrull's origin story. Somehow his wife and child will die, and he blames Marvel for it, so he turns to to Skrull scientists to give him the powers of the Fantastic Four. I don't know, whatever.
Right. Well, he like shows up at Maria Rambeau's house, and he's
drinking a soft drink.
Yes,
like Jules,
like Jules in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to take him as being non-menacing, non-threatening, and like, hey, I'm just a refugee. Like,
the Skrulls were goofy from the start, though.
Yeah, okay,
they were always kind of goofy.
But why?
They're goofing around when Carol's trying to escape their ship. Later on, it's like, you're my science guy. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it'd be easy to write a funny line, but just have him go,
I know.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. But, like, why have him be, like, menacing like Jules when we're supposed to side with him?
It's a reference.
I know it's a reference. I just don't feel like it gets the right message across.
Do you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese?
Yeah, I know.
Nothing, because they don't eat quarter pounders on Hollow.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's a totalitarian society.
Yeah.
I guess we never really get a sense of Hala.
No, we don't.
I feel like we get a sense of Xandar a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We at least enough to know, all right, whatever. There's just a lot of orange and green people, but they're like us.
Right.
We get it that it's galactic crossroads. There's a lot of diversity. It's Space America, basically, right? And then like Space Hillary, Glenn Close is in charge of it. Like, fine,
right?
But like Hala, we don't get any sense of it.
We see
and
skyscrapers.
There are specific parallels.
Yeah,
they are riding a train. Like a subway elevated train at the beginning. Later on, Carol rides a train in L.A.
Yes.
And there's never any suggestion made that they know that they have duplicated something. So I don't know if they meant to do that or
if that just happened.
They just didn't think about it.
No, they didn't think about it. And they didn't think about, like...
because they set a whole thing up.
I know. Like, how is riding the train in Hala different from riding the train in
I'm
LA?
not saying that it has to be super thematic. I'm just saying...
No, but
when you
make
have
a choice.
A clear visual replication of something, there's a little suggestion to that. And I don't know why Carol... I guess she hasn't been briefed. Like, why does she think C-53 is part of the Imperium or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Like, she just lands on this planet and she's like, Star Force, you know who I am. Because it's funny. I mean, it does work, I guess. She's the fish out of water who thinks that she's in water.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, I get it. But, like, yeah, she's riding the train in L.A. or whatever, and it's like, oh, you guys don't have Fliegerburbs on your trains? Huh, interesting.
Right.
There's just no... I don't know. It's just dumb.
Well, yeah, it is. And, like... She, like, instantly knows that there's Skrull here because there's one who, like, tries to attack her in his wetsuit because, like, when they
They're
first
good guys,
landed...
though.
I know, right?
Yeah.
When is that turn?
He was going to goodly murder her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to know...
Maybe he was the bad one. There's 4 of them.
Yeah.
That's Crizzlebop. They all know Crizzlebop's an asshole. He's tried to shoot me like 3 times already.
Oh, my gosh. It just doesn't make... any sense. And
no, it feels this is why I said that it feels like a DC movie, is because it feels not thought out, and I know that they think these things out to death. And in addition to the Bowden and Fleck also writing it. I mean, they directed it, but they also wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole Perlman is credited.
Right.
Geneva Robertson Dworet is credited. She wrote the Tomb Raider reboot, so bad news there. I mean, there's no real great authors or screenwriters on this.
Right.
Nicole Perlman aside, I apologize. So there's nobody seems to be at the wheel of this, and that doesn't usually get past. Even in something like Ant-Man, it becomes, even if it's not compelling, like I don't care if Corey Stoll does or doesn't get his thing.
Right.
But it's internally consistent.
Yes.
And I just didn't feel that. There's things where you go, did they mean to do that? And the answer is, I don't know. They might have meant to do it and they executed it poorly, or it might have just slipped by them and nobody's at the wheel here.
Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with, like...
It's no Mississippi grind, I'll tell you that.
No. I'm fine with Young Rock being, like, the bad guy and, like, us kind of finding out later, oh, wait, he's the bad guy. But I would have liked to have seen, like, more development in that, and then, like, not have him just come in at the end.
Just riding on a ship for most of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how long does it take him to get to C-53? I know
22
she was...
hours.
Yeah, I know she was, like, kidnapped, and she was probably closer to it, but it just seems like it takes them a really long time.
22 hours.
Yeah.
They say it in the film.
Oh, do they say it? Okay. Well, still seems too long.
It seems arbitrary.
Yeah, it does.
Can you fly anywhere or not?
Right.
Can we talk, speaking of arbitrary, can we talk about their light speed engine?
Yeah.
Name it a, maybe you don't want to say warp. Name it a quantum. Put quantum in front of it.
Sure.
Take a note from Scott Lang.
Yeah.
Light speed is not fast.
No, it's not.
Light speed takes you millions of years to go places.
Right.
So
Right.
why call it a light speed engine?
If it's supposed to take you from galaxy to galaxy.
Well, if they really do, so this is what I was thinking about that. The Kree Empire, we're learning, is expansive. It probably controls a lot of the galaxy. So I guess they want to go to another galaxy. In the comics, now don't quote me on this, but the Skrulls are, I believe, from another galaxy.
Okay.
Maybe Andromeda, or
Okay.
that might be Shi'ar's galaxy. I can't remember, but they're
Okay.
from another. They're from the Skrull galaxy or whatever. They've got their own galaxy that they control, so they're going to try to get them out of the galaxy. Fine, but light speed. It would take billions of years to get to another galaxy at light speed. Well, millions.
Yeah.
Why call it that?
What?
Why call it that?
I don't know. I think it's a disadvantage to call it that.
I just feel like they haven't thought out this side of it, and we are two Guardians. Technically, well, the third Thor movie definitely, the second one too, kind of. So we'll put that in there. Infinity War. We are 5 cosmic movies into this.
Yes.
Marvel Cosmic, which frankly, like I said before, I'm super excited about, should be more solid than this
I agree with you.
at this point.
Yeah. They should have a better idea of what it is they're doing. I like, why not change it to a more cosmic sounding name even?
Are you getting lost?
No, I'm not getting lost.
Come as you are.
Yeah. As you were. Okay. Yeah.
Also, she was kidnapped in 1989.
I know.
She doesn't even know any 90s music.
That's true. That's very true. She doesn't.
She'd be a hair metal girl.
Yeah, I know,
She'd
right?
be like, where's Poison?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any Poison?
Right? We're some Queen.
Some Crew.
Yeah.
Queen? No.
No?
No Queen.
Okay.
Did you guys figure that AIDS thing out?
Oh,
Ooh,
boy.
No, it's still working on that. Working on that.
Yeah.
So does she, answer some questions for me. Does
Okay.
she have her memories back at the end of the film?
I think she does.
How?
Just being on
She took
Earth
the arbitrary
and then,
disc
like,
of control off and now she
and
remembers?
she seeing
I just see flashes.
Lawson's pictures and then meeting with Maria.
Now she knows.
Yeah.
I didn't get that sense.
Oh.
She flies off with the Skrull at the end
Yes.
in the ship.
Kree ship.
In the Kree ship.
Yeah.
The Kree ship can use jump gates or
I think
is
so.
using the light speed engine.
I think it's using jump gates.
Because they kind of take off like a Starfleet ship at the end.
Yeah.
Which,
Looks like
by the
they
way,
jump.
I guess Carol could fly at light speed.
I
We
guess.
go through like 25 years of power-ups in one movie, which fine, whatever. First where it's kind of awkwardly established over the course of the film that she's basically a Kree. Are regular Kree super strong? I guess
think
they're
so.
are they like Vulcans? Or just like it's everything is Star Trek to me. Like they're just basically tougher than humans. I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we see that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
But we also still like understand that the people that they send out to fight would be their toughest people. So
Yes.
maybe some are tougher than others.
Right.
She's got that. Also, she's got shooty powers, which nobody else
Yes.
seems to have. We
Right.
later learn why that is. But all she has to do is like believe in herself and clap for fairies, and then she can also fly, shoot lasers, and fly at light
Yeah.
speed.
Yeah.
And it goes up so fast. Like up to halfway through the movie, Jude Law can knock her out.
Yes.
End of the movie, she can fly through a capital ship and just completely destroy it.
Yes.
And
Apparently.
Ronan's like, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
back it up.
Right.
And we back it up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Back it up.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that just to put her on par with Thanos? Because that's not an arc.
Yeah. It might be to put her on par with Thanos.
Yeah.
It might be to show how incredibly powerful she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's showing and telling, and then there's just getting it over with,
Yeah. I know.
which is the third worst option.
This was getting it over with for sure.
What did I say? 5 out of 10?
Yeah. You said 5 out of 10.
Unanswered questions. So I guess Howard Stark screwed around with the Tesseract, never found anything out. And then we know that they can detect Tesseract energy because they read it in the woman or whatever.
Right.
So they must have like detected the Tesseract on Earth, and that's why they sent Mar-Vell there
Yes.
away from the fighting and the war
Right.
to like the secret location Earth, basically, to work on this engine that
power.
only the Skrull really need. I guess it would have helped the Kree as well.
It
but
would have.
She's developed, or was she supposed to work on something else, and she ended up making this engine for the Skrull.
It's not really clear.
No, it's not, because we have to spend half the movie thinking that one guy's the bad guy
Yeah.
for a dumb twist
Yes.
that keeps us from any kind of, just story fill of why any of this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
We come to understand that Annette Bening is a nice lady,
Right.
but we don't know that Talos saved my life.
None of
I
that
was a
is
soldier
said.
too,
Yeah.
and I was on Tonfa or something like that, and we just cut them down by the thousands, and that's when I knew like we're on the wrong side of this thing. We got to end this war.
There's nothing like that.
No, there's nothing like that.
We don't know why Mar-Vell felt this way.
No.
We just know that she had lots of Skrull like hidden away in her secret lab that's above Earth somewhere.
Well, I think that you figured this out, but like it's heavily implied that she has kind of gone native and really likes
The
Earth.
Skrull.
That's the only thing
and
I can
Earth.
think of as to why there's Space Invaders, Pinball Machine, there's a Fonzie lunchbox, there's a troll doll, a koosh
Yeah.
ball, like in her lab, is that
Yeah.
she has fallen in love with like Earth.
Yes.
Because remember, Happy Days 70s, like
Yes.
that's not 90s,
Right.
And Space Invaders Pinball, that's probably 70s, early 80s too. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna hit somebody with a pinball machine, you gotta say tilt or something.
Yeah.
If you want to have fun, have fun.
Yeah. I agree with you. They didn't do that.
I was into it when she was like escaping from the Skrull ship at the beginning.
Yeah.
I got a sense of like, okay, like she's serious, but she's also a little whimsical. She didn't have time for a lot of this. She goes back for her boots.
Yes.
And I wanted a line like, "Why would you take my boots, weirdos?" But, she just blasts the thing and she's gonna get out of there. And
Right.
like, that was fun.
Yeah.
But then she's just like, "Fury, come on, we got to do this. I'm the girl. I got to keep this story on track. I can't
know.
be fun."
I know. They should have allowed her to be more fun, I think.
If that's what they want to do.
well-
Or have her be super serious. I don't care.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
Rhodey is the guy who's like super serious, but then he's like, "Bam, you looking for this?"
Right. Right. And they asked for
He's big now.
Stan-
Tiny dude's big now.
Stan is like, is Mr. Stank here? Or whatever.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for making me cry. First 10 seconds of the film.
I know, right? I got a little teary-eyed too. So.
That's my last question, and then maybe we can just stop. But
Okay.
So Stan Lee is on the bus rehearsing his line
For Mallrats. Yeah.
That means that Mallrats exists and Kevin Smith exists in this universe.
Yep.
And that Stan Lee is at least important enough to have a cameo in Mallrats.
Yep.
But the Marvel heroes don't exist. Kevin Smith and his entire film career, and really most of Mallrats, only exists because of the Marvel universe. So what I want to know is, what is Mallrats about
If
in
it's
the
not
MCU?
about yeah.
Pirate comics?
I don't know.
Is this a Watchmen thing?
Right.
Hey, is Redbeard's dick red too? Like, what the hell is Mallrats about?
Yeah, no, that's a really fantastic question. I don't know.
Of course, they steal Mallrats' joke, where it's like, I'm going to kick you in an uncomfortable place or whatever. No.
Right.
It's your butt.
Right. I know.
What?
I know.
Get it out now.
Yep.
We're stopping.
I know. I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite Marvel film. I think I enjoyed it more than Ant-Man, and I feel like I enjoyed it more than Doctor Strange.
No, there's a
too.
case.
Yeah.
You could make a case.
Yeah.
What's the arc? What is Carol Danvers' arc? Believe in yourself.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the whole. I'm trying to think of another hero with a similar kind of. I think it said Thor, I guess, but like, making her amnesiac. I know that's part of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not. She's two people in one body.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would have been kind of tedious, but maybe that would have been the better
That
way to go.
could have been more
Cutting
interesting,
her
though.
off from her life means it's stunted character growth. You can't grow the character.
Well, her needing to believe in herself, that reminds me of Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse.
Which we heavily criticized also.
Yes.
Where Miles just stands around and watches
He
everybody
doesn't
do
do
stuff.
a whole lot
until one conversation with his dad, and then he just kicks everyone's ass.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, well, just talk
Why
to your
didn't
dad
you hear
sooner.
the call earlier?
Yeah, right. Answer the call.
Yeah. So.
No, not answer the call.
But yeah. Yeah. Could have been better. So.
Okay, so Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Yeah.
What do we think?
What do we think it's going to be like? I think it's.
I want to know what we're looking at going forward.
Oh.
Because Eternals will presumably be all the parts that I wanted to see of this without any of that pesky 90s music and
90s
Believe in
stuff.
Yourself.
Yeah.
It'll be all cosmic stuff. But you might argue it might be cold emotionally and hard to hang on to, which you've already got me because I want to see those characters.
Right.
But if we go forward and we do a Winter Soldier movie, a War Machine movie, another Black Panther movie, if this is the template, what are we to expect? Are we in trouble? Or is this a weird blip? This is, like I said, like I call it their Rogue One, where they went back and tried to do a thing and went, well, it went fine, but we're not going to do that again, though.
I kind of think it's a weird blip.
I hope so.
I really think that the next Spider-Man movie is going to be fun. I mean, he's trying to even leave his costume at home. I don't think he actually takes it with him on the trip.
Can't he just be Spider-Man?
I know.
Can't he just stop purse snatchers and Jonah Jameson's yelling at him and the Scorpions robbing a bank? But instead we've got no costume, but he gets a costume because he becomes Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon show. S.H.I.E.L.D. is backing him.
Right.
Then we've got, hey, do you like those heroes that turn out to be villains at the end? Because you loved it in Captain Marvel. Now we've got that in Mysterio in Far From Home.
Right. I know.
Do you guys not know what you're doing? Like, do you not know what makes these movies good? Have you heard the criticism? Well, they're kind of all the same. And are your ears so full of money that you think you can't hear that? Or wait, no, they are hearing that. Wait, anyway, I don't know what the metaphor is, but are they taking that criticism to heart and then adding unnecessary changes and twists to things? Because it's worked so far. You're 21 movies into this.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that anybody can say is that sometimes we get sick of blue lasers.
Right.
But it's working.
Yeah.
Why are you messing with it?
I don't know why they're messing with it. I think they thought, oh, this is a prequel film. We have to approach it in a different way. And I think that is a fallacy. I think that they should have approached it in like, okay, what do we know? What do we want the story to be about? How do we focus on Carol? How do we make this an empowering movie for women and for other moviegoers as well? And I don't think, I don't know where their focus ended up. I just don't feel like it was as strong of an introduction to a character as it could have been.
Yeah.
I just I just feel like it could have been stronger.
Yeah. What's up with the black hole?
I have no idea.
You gotta be careful of your hole or whatever it was.
Yeah,
you said.
I know.
But the credits, like most Marvel movies, go like, here's a pastiche of everything that happened up into the movie with weird like computer graphics or whatever.
Right.
Oh, can I just mention the music in this movie was like the first time that I was like, wow, this is like subpar. Yeah. I just was not impressed with the music at all.
No, it was obvious.
But they show some stuff in the credits, and then they show like a very specific, like, gargantua, interstellar-looking black hole. She never goes anywhere near a black hole in the film.
No, not that we see. Mm-mm.
Is this... Are they foreshadowing? Like, is she... So she flies off with the Skrulls and doesn't do anything that we know about for 20 years.
Right.
Does she... I saw a theory that it's like, well, they're traveling at light speed. And, when you travel at light speed, your personal thing slows down, but you travel at... So only a year passes for you, but it takes 20 years to get somewhere. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's what they meant by the light speed drive, but maybe they picked light speed drive for it. But like I said, that's for people who can fly through a honeycomb and go across the universe. That seems like a very inefficient way to travel. Mm-hmm. And maybe she gets caught in a black hole or something like that, because that would like trap her, slow her down. It would also slow down time, as we saw in Interstellar. And so maybe she thinks that it's only been a couple weeks or something, but she's been caught in this black hole for 20
years or something. Yeah.
And then also it would make sense why they play Hole over the credits.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are they trying to say that she's got a celebrity skin that she wears?
I don't think so. But I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with any of their music choices, to be perfectly honest.
Which is ironic.
Don't you think?
What about, I'm Here to Remind You.
Yeah.
Or what's that thing called? What's that song called?
I don't know what it's called.
We should know.
Yeah, we should.
That is ironic.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh, make me over. I'm all I wanna be. A walking study in demonology.
Well, I wish the show could have been better. Wish we could have brought more excitement and energy to it, but I just don't. I feel let down.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be excited about it. I wanted to like it more.
We heard about that.
Yeah, I know.
We heard about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe we'll have more thoughts about it in the future. I don't really plan on seeing it again in the theater, but who knows? Mm-hmm. Maybe there'll be some great article that'll open the whole thing up for us.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Is it in 3D anywhere? It must be.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't see it in 3D.
No.
All right. So, look, something better on the horizon. Mm-hmm. Something that is not going to let it this streak end, and that's the movie Us. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're talking about. That's what Us is talking about next week.
Right.
The new horror movie from Jordan Peele.
Yes.
And the initial reviews are good. It looks like it's going to be great, and we're going to be there to talk about it, and excited about this one. Not going to let this one go by. Get out, go over the plate.
Yes.
Had to watch it at home, but we're going to definitely see that one, and we'll be bringing our review. So stick around until then. Until then, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter and on social media, and please go to your podcatcher of choice and subscribe to our show. It's the best way to get it. Leave us a review. We want to hear from the fans how we're doing, and a rating. Most important part. Give us a high rating. Mm-hmm. That computer knows, it analyzes where we're going. We move up in the ranks, and we can reach more people. So to that end, give us 5 Flurkins.
Yes.
And honestly, was that 2 minutes to press? Who was that? Kelly DeConnick that came up with that?
I don't know.
Oh, we need a name for this alien. Flurkin.
Right. I don't know.
Flurkin it is.
It's like...
I like Chewie.
Yeah, I know, right?
But we can't use that.
I know. Because Star Wars.
Goose.
Yeah, I know.
Just keep suggesting a more exciting movie.
I know.
But don't deliver.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, forget that. Give us 5 stars.
Yes.
Or 5 black holes. Watch out for your holes.
Yes.
We'll see you next week talking about us. Till then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Megan Hanna.
Keep the geek fires burning.